Hi, this video we're going to introduce some very basic of SolidWorks. So you have downloaded SolidWorks and you click on the SolidWorks 2020 and it was started. Let's see. Okay. It might take a little bit. Say yes. So I have my SolidWorks open. You might have a different interface. If you were asked about part or assembly, you click on part. So here I'm going to click on new. Okay, so that's what you say. Now, here's the difference. For part is for two-dimensional. Assembly is, part is going to be just one individual components you're drawing. Assembly, as you can see here, if you have two parts together, they are going to be connected in some kind of term. And here in SolidWorks is called a mate. If they were mated in some particular way, for example, one face they are touching each other and they have to be like a 90-degree, those all have to be concentric for cylinders. So then that's going to be, you apply that mate relationship to those different parts, then you create assembly. But right now we're starting on parts. So click on OK. All right, so what you have over here is this blank canvas. That's how I would like to think about it. Imagine you basically are start to draw. It's like a painting. Very important things you at this stage to look out is there are different plane. Front plane, that's what you're looking at standing in front. Top plane, imagine you have a bird view. Right plane is you stand on the right side and you look at it. And I believe there's a video we had in previous week to show how do you draw front, top, right plane by hand. And that creates that visualization in your head. Now, in order to draw, so first, there are many ways to do. I'm just going to tell you the ways I have developed that I've been drawing. So I right click, you have a mouse, I right click, you see this one, it said sketch. And that's important. That's basically you pick up your pen, start to draw. So you click on that sketch. Okay, so this will allow us to draw now. And so for example, I'm going to draw a circle. I click on, so I'm in the sketch tab. Okay, sketch is going to be 2-dimension. And feature is going to become 3-dimension. You will see that very soon. So sketch, we're going to sketch a circle. We'll draw just a circle. Circle, the center is going to be at the origin. So I'm going to left click and I'm going to just let my mouse to toggle. And that shows different radius. And then I left click again. That's where I decided to draw my circle. Then the next thing you want to do is you're going to click on Smart Dimension because you notice this color is blue, right? Which means blue means not defined, means we do not know the dimension of it. Once you click on the Smart Dimension and you notice the mouse has a little ruler attached to it, and then you go ahead and click on any point on the edge and click on there. And then you notice there is a label for us, the dimension. And here, if I decided to be just 1 inch, I would just say, if this is going to be 1 inch, I type in 1, and then you can choose a different unit. And here, I click on OK. Then you notice that blue edge of the circle has become black. And black means defined. You want to get your sketch to be defined. So you want to get this black lines. One thing I didn't mention, before you actually go ahead and draw anything, check on this. At the right bottom of the screen, IPS means inches for the length unit, pounds for the mass unit, and second for the time unit. And sometimes you will use mmgs as well. mm is millimeter, g gram, s second. Okay, so that's something you actually want to define from beginning. How do you define here? I'm going to give you an example. If I'm going to go do a new part, and I have right here, I click on part again, click on OK, and and open up a blank canvas. Again, we have front plane, top plane, and right plane, and we choose to draw on the front plane, right? But here, you notice, before I go ahead and draw, this is where I'm going to change. If today, this particular drawing I want to do on MMGS, I go ahead and do that. And again, let's do another example. I did a front plane earlier. How about we do a top plane? So you do the same thing, right click on this and click on the sketch mark. So basically you pick up a pencil, kind of. And for this top plane, you can also draw, for example, I want to draw a rectangle. And rectangle, you see, you're prompted to choose different ways to do it, right? Different type. And if I decided to, also you can click on here, there's a corner rectangle, which means you start at the corner, or you can start at the center. Okay, so if I choose start at the center, so that's going to be my rectangle. Start on the center, I drag out, and I go ahead and click on escape here. I did a click on escape. Okay, escape you actually quite use sometimes in SolidWorks. Again, you can do smart dimension. So smart dimension, you have that ruler, you click on this one, and then you can drag up and down. Feel free to play with it. And then, for example, if you want to be 100, remember the units here is going to be millimeter. Okay, so that's 100 millimeter. And then we have to define this dimension as well, right? Because it's still blue. Now you can see it's become black. So here, if I want to be just 40, and I click on that, then we have this well-defined rectangle with a center at the origin and 140 millimeter dimension. Okay. So we have this drawing. Now, if I were to move this drawing from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, how do we do? Remember, sketch is 2-dimension. Feature is where we're going to promote this 2-dimension to 3-dimension. So how do we do that? While on my sketch, I'm going to click on, you see I'm still at sketch, and you notice this is yes or no. Or you can exit sketch right here. So while on my sketch, I'm going to click on feature. And you notice right here, you have extrude. And I'm going to demonstrate this today, extrude boss. So you notice it's start to become 3-dimensional already. And here you have, say, I'm going to start on this sketch plane, which we have on the top plane. And I'm going to go up. A blind is just like that direction. You're going to blind how much? Basically, you want to extrude how much? If I want to extrude, right now it's set up as 2.5. I think it's too little. I'm going to do, for example, 10. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's higher, right? If I want to do 50. You see, you create this rectangular prism. And you have a 50, and now you look at it's going up, right? If you want to go down, all you need to do is come over here to change this direction, reverse the direction, so you got another type of rectangle. Okay, so these are the ways to check out, and that's just giving me the dimension on this side. The height is going to be 50 millimeter. All right, so again, here, another new concept is when you have a mouse in your right hand, then the middle wheel, which is I'm doing now, I'm scrolling, so I can zoom in and zoom out, right? So that's what you can play with, that. And if it's like getting out of control, you can, if it's like, then you can go ahead to look at this one here. Click on this, let's see, what do they call this? View orientation. And then you can click on this isometric. Then it's going to bring you to the place, isometric location. Okay. So once you have that, what we need to do is you're going to click on this check mark, say, okay, I'm done with this feature. And then you have this so you have this 3D feature now. Okay. All right. Now let's see what else can we do. And remember we made we made a circle, and now we start to make a rectangle, and then we extrude it in the feature right here. We made a rectangle. Now I'm going to looking at something else. Let's go ahead draw a circle. Again, our goal for this one is find the circle area. So I go ahead, new part, and this time I'm going to use IPS, which is inch pound second. I have that. Then we go ahead and sketch. So you notice here I click on sketch. So normally we go to front plane. You can go ahead that click on right plane, front plane, and the sketch. And we're going, then use the sketching tool will show up. Then you click on the tool on the circle and drag from the center, and then we smart dimension it. Okay, you see something didn't do it right. So in that situation, what do? You go click on escape, and then click on smart dimension again. Then for this time, we want to be 3 inches diameter. So we have this well-defined the circle that's in black color. Now we're going to find out the area. So in order to do this, this is something new. You're going to click on this evaluate tab. Okay, in this evaluate tab, you have this measure, you have this section property. So today we're going to click on this section property. Okay, in the section property, and it shows me the area, right, as how many millimeter. But if we want to change to inches, what you could do, you can go ahead to, let's see if we can change, yeah, in the options, you can go ahead, use custom setting. You can go ahead and change that to inches. Then you got, click on OK. So that changed to 7.07 inch square. Again, you can go ahead and use hand calculation pi r square or pi d square over 4 to calculate this area. Another way you can do is go check on Excel. So I'm opening up the Excel. And for example, this radius, this diameter, I'm going to see called D. And in this cell called A1, and this D is going to be 3 inches. So if I want to calculate the area, I write it down area just for my own reference, so I know I'm solving it. Then in this blank cell, right here at the address bar, click on enter. Whenever you are solving something, putting a formula, always start with enter. And a pi r square, pi in Excel is going to be pi, open closing parenthesis with nothing inside. That's our pi r square. So times is going to be this asterisk. Then pi r square or pi d square over 4. So if I'm going to use this D diameter, which is 3, so I click on this cell, which is B1. Or you cannot click on that cell, just write it down, B1. Then you notice it's also selected. Pi d square is going to be caret sign 2. That's how you do square in Excel, over 4. Then click on enter. You have our answer as 7.07, which is the same thing you have over in the Solidworks, 7.07. So I want you to try 3 different ways: hand calculation, Excel, and Solidworks. All right. All right, so you draw a circle and you evaluate the section properties, you figure out the area. And so I would encourage you to go ahead and draw a rectangle, to do the same step, evaluate. Then you can find the area, okay? So now let's go ahead and draw a cylinder, okay? Draw a cylinder, so you go ahead, open, new file. So whenever you decided to save those, you go ahead and make sure you save them all, right? You save as, and here I'm gonna lead you one time. And it's gonna be saved as the Solidworks part, SLDPRT. That's gonna be the file you wanna save for any Solidworks format, okay? Now let's go ahead and draw a cylinder. before we draw a cylinder, we click on the part. And for the cylinder, we're also gonna be in IPS. Instead of mine is in critical mode. I think I have too many of those opened up, so I can go ahead and close off those. I don't need to save them. So don't save. Okay, so now we're at this blank canvas, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the sketch. We go ahead, cylinder. The way we draw a cylinder, we start with drawing a circle. And so you notice I didn't click on any plane, so it gave me this reason. So I can go ahead and say, turn it off. I will go to front plane and the sketch. And on the front plane, I'm drawing this circle. And the smart dimension it. And this cylinder radius is 1. If radius is 1, then smart dimension, the diameter is going to be 2 inches. Then we want to be height to be 5 inches. Then we come over here. We can click on OK. We can go to feature, right? So here I'm actually going to do something else. If I close this, discard changes. This will revert. Okay, let's see. Discard changes and exit. Oh, you notice something? The sketch just gone, right? So I should not do that. So go ahead, do it really quick, and draw the sketch and smart dimension it for 2 inches. All right, then I'm gonna click on OK. Okay, not to exit. So I have this. I get rid of this. I'm out of the sketch, and now I'm going to be at features. So at features, you go ahead extrude, and just like how we did for the rectangular prism, this define what direction. You can reverse, extrude the other way, doesn't matter for this situation. If we want to be 5 inches, click on 5 inches. And you see this is out of our sight, right? So go ahead and use your middle wheel of your mouse, and so get back to the right center of your screen. So here you got your cylinder. Now here what we're going to do is we are going to evaluate the surface area of the cylinder. So do a quick review, thinking about how do you figure out the area of a cylinder. You have 2 circles, right? And then you also have the side surface area. Side surface area, if you were cut, unroll it, it's basically a rectangle. So it's parameter of the circle, 2 pi r times the height. So look at the previous video on how to calculate the surface area of a cylinder. But now, what we are going to do is we're going to evaluate. And here, we're going to be looking at, instead of section property, which have nothing. Why? Because this is a 3-dimensional now. For 3-dimension, we're going to look at different tab. It's called the mass property. So if you click on mass property, what does it come out? It's telling us the density. We haven't really defined what material is this, and let's hold on this. But they tell us the volume, right? Volume of a cylinder is what? Think about the formula. Pi r squared times height. And surface area is calculated also. So those two are something I want you to pay attention. So here what I'm going to do is I encourage you to pause and hand calculate the area, surface area, and the volume. Remember the radius here is 1 inch, the height is 5. So if we were using Excel, so I would say radius, and this is 1 inch, and the height is 5. First thing we want to do is surface area. The second thing we want to calculate is volume. So again, we learned from earlier example for the circle area. When you calculate something, you start with equal sign, and the surface area is going to be top plus bottom, which is 2 circles. So it's 2 times pi asterisk r square, so it's this value. Click on B5 square, right? Then plus the side area, it's a rectangle, it's the perimeter times the height. Perimeter is 2 times pi times r, that, right? Then that's circumference or perimeter, then times our height. Click on that cell, then click on enter. Then that should help us figure out the surface area. The beautiful thing about the Solidworks, the Excel or Solidworks, is you can change those numbers. For example, my radius want to change to 2, and you just click on enter, and you notice the surface area changes. And what it does is they use this value here to calculate. Isn't that something? So save you tons of time. All right, so I'm gonna go back to click on change back to 1. All right, then volume start with the equal sign. It's pi r square, pi r square times height, right? There's a common shape, surface area, and the volume formula that engineering students should know. So you got this volume, that's how many inch cube, right? And this is gonna be inch square. All right, so that's gonna be our answer. We can go back to our Solidworks, see if we have the same answer here. We have volume 50.71, right, inches, and the surface area is given in millimeter. Again, you can go ahead and change that, use custom and change to inches to compare. So it's 37.7 and 15.7. So it's exactly what you have there. 15.7 is 37.7. So you match up using different tools. Okay, so you got draw a cylinder. Now, one thing I want to go back to look at this mass properties is we never specify what this material is made of, right? So what we could do is I want to bring up to this decision tree right here. Click on right click on material. Then you can actually change what materials you want to be, right? You can be, for example, I want to be plain carbon steel, right? If I choose that, you even have color coded. It's different color. I can change to brass. And you got this copper looking color. And then if you go back to mass properties, now they were using the density of brass, which is 0.31 pounds per cubic inch. Then you calculate the right mass. Isn't that great? Okay. All right, so now I think I want to do another one. I wanted to go ahead and using this, I want to draw a tube or draw a pipe, which means I'm going to hollow up some of it. How do I do that? What I do is I go ahead, do the same thing. I draw my tube like this way. This will be my outer diameter. Then I'm going to click, while I'm at this step, I'm going to click on the surface right here, left click the surface. And here, you notice, when I click on that, I'm going to draw a sketch on this surface because I'm not going to draw a sketch on front plane, top plane, or right plane right here. I'm just going to draw a sketch on this surface. In order to do that, you just like what we just did, click on the surface and click on that sketch, right? Okay, so those two are very important. This is a sketch, this is edit sketch. Now we're creating a new sketch on that surface, so sketch. And then I realize it's not perpendicular in front of me, it's not normal to me. So in order to do that, I'm gonna right click and I'm going to, and I realize it's not gonna be possible for me to do. I'm gonna right click on this, right click on the decision tree sketch, and I'm going to click on normal. That will bring the canvas right in front of me and I'm ready to draw this sketch, okay? Also, another thing I want to click on is I click on this arrow, it will show me the other things we did. The first thing, that sketch is the first circle we did, and then using that circle, we boss it out, draw the cylinder. And sketch 3 is what we are about to draw. So we are going to draw another circle. And again, it's blue. It's not defined yet. I go to the smart dimension, click on that. Again, didn't do it right. It seems to prompt me to draw another circle. You know what to do now, right? Escape. Then we go smart dimension again, try, and click on that. And the earlier, the radius was, I believe, was 1. And now how about we make a radius to be 0.75. Okay. So we have no, actually I didn't draw radius as 0.75. I actually draw diameter. So here, if I want to change that, I'm going to click on that again, double click. I'm going to change that to 1.5. Okay, so I have that circle. Then you can go ahead and agree with this sketch, or you can directly go to the feature. You go to the feature, and now we're going to not doing extrude again, because this time we're going to hollow it out. In order to hollow it out, we're going to use this extrude cut. So click on extrude cut, right? And this time, what I just did is I moved this around, I left click on my mouse, I turn around, okay? So now you don't need to do this step. If you're here, you extrude, you can do blend. You can see I'm going to blind 5 inches. Or, because this entire height is 5 inches. So this would do, let's click on that. So you basically create a hollow piece. My computer has a trouble to allow me to move. But if you want to move, it's basically oh, here we go. I did it right. It's going to be click on, here's a tip to rotate. You hold down your middle wheel, just hold down to it, and then turn around it. Then you can, so you can see that hole. Another way, if you want to go ahead and change this feature you just did, right click. And when you are there, click on this particular tab. It's edit feature, right? Edit feature is you add it to this 3-dimensional. This one, edit sketch, is that 2-dimensional circle. Here, if I want to edit a feature, if I want to just extrude only 2 inches, then you will see only part of them. Click on OK. Only part of them is extrude, right? All right, then you can also right click, edit feature. Instead of using blind 5 inches, you can go ahead and do through both. Basically, on both ends of the circle, it's going to cover it out completely. That would do the same thing what you did as you did for blind 5. Okay, then that's how we did for this copper tubing. Remember on the textbooks, there are some particular type of engineering products like a 1/4 inch when we learned about nominal size. This type K copper tubing, they give us the actual size of the outer diameter and the inner diameter. You can just draw that and verify the mass property. So which we're about to do, we are going to do this evaluate. Then we're going to look at the mass property. If we agree this is going to be the density we're using, and then they told us the mass and the volume and the surface area for this entire one. Okay. And sometimes if you don't have the right material here, you can even go ahead, let's try edit materials, right? If you choose bass or you can custom material, okay? You can custom materials and apply or configure. You know, just say I'm gonna do, you know, a particular one. Okay, then you can put the particular density in there. Okay, that doesn't come often because Solidworks already have quite a comprehensive list of the material. All right, that's all I have so far. One more thing I want to show. So I'm gonna close this off. I don't need to save, but you likely gonna need to save, right? So don't save circle line, and I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to draw a sphere. Okay, so imagine draw a sphere. I started with the circle. Okay, and then what do I do? If I draw a circle first, I go to feature. Then we're going to introduce this concept called revolved, boss, and base for our 3-dimension. And then you need to have an axis of rotation, right? We don't really have, so I need to probably sketch it. So I'm going to get rid of it. I'm actually going to redo this one. I think it's probably better. All right, so I'm redo it. I go ahead to right plane and sketch and circle. But this time, actually, I'm not drawing a circle. I can draw a circle, or I'll draw a semicircle. In order to draw a semicircle, there are many different ways to do it. I start with a circle. That's one way. And then I can go ahead to draw a line. There's a line option. Then if I click on this, I drag around, and you notice this tab. So I'm going to do it right there because I want to draw a line that's across the radius and stop there. And escape. So I draw the line. Oh, by the way, I need to smart dimension that, the circle, because it's blue. It doesn't matter at this point. Then I'm going to go trim it. So the trim, we're going to use the power trim. You can rate it. What does the power trim? You hold down and drag your cursor across the entity. So I'm going to hold down and drag it. You notice? You create that semicircle. It's very straightforward. And then if you want to go smart dimension it, it's still not too late. And that's going to be our radius if you want to be 1. So I have a radius there. Okay, so that's one way to draw a circle. Here I'm actually going to show another way to draw a circle, so I'm deleting it. Another way to draw a circle is, I'm going to be on my front plane also. I'm actually going to use this line function, then I can draw everything. So I'm going to do that and the line again. So what we do is this time I'm going to start at this. So the center of this semicircle is not going to be at the origin, and it's okay. I started with a horizontal line, and you notice if it's absolutely horizontal, you have this yellow bar has this horizontal line. That's what you want. You want to be completely horizontal. You left click again, so that indicates your ending point. And here is a little trick to draw a semicircle using a line. So what you do is you will go up and you go down, and then you notice it allows you to draw the arc. And then you end at that point, and all those, you see that yellow circles, 2 circles, that means concentric. You know, it's going to be at that point, and you left click. Then you have your semicircle. Now you can go ahead and smart dimension that. Let's see 1. So there are many different ways to do the same thing. And I encourage you to try them and find the one you might like to do it later on. So you have your semicircle. Remember, our goal is to draw a sphere. Then what do we do is, let's try now. I go to feature, I go to revolved, right? And here, this is going to be the axis, what you're rotating about. I want to rotating about that point, that line, right? So what do you notice? It's already drawing blind 360 degree. You all click on OK. You already have your sphere. Okay, so you get your bouncing ball here. Then you can do the same thing. You can go ahead and evaluate mass property. Then that gives us the volume. Remember, the volume for the sphere is 4/3 pi r cube. And you also can calculate the surface area. The formula for that is 4 pi r squared. So those things, then I encourage you to go ahead and try that by hand, also Excel. So that's what we have so far, and hopefully that will get you started to work on some Solidworks project on some very basic common shapes. All right, have fun. See you next time. Bye.